OkultinometriX. OkultinometriX here. I'm going to flip this camera for now. Alright, OkultinometriX, using Alchemy, Elementals, Numerology, Tarot, Runes, and Tarot. Welcome already. Hello, Cecilia Grace. And is that Matcha? Matchalis? Sophia, but your friends call you Matchalis? Cool. Alright, so we got OkultinometriX, which is funny because it's a word, a name that came from my friend on Wisdom, Wandering Fool. She calls herself Wandering Fool there, but her name is also Cicely Marie Goose. And right now we're gonna do, well, actually at first I'm gonna start with a little bit of numerology. And the first thing is going to check two things. One is going to be, and there's a lot of sunlight on my back, that's why I flipped the camera, but I mean, all you're going to see is like a crazy glare right now. So, I mean, maybe that's fun for now, right? We'll see. You like that camera glare over there? Call in. So the first thing is to do two different number calculations. And actually, if anybody wants me to do your numerology calculations, you can call into Wisdom and we can cover that. But the first thing is to start with today's date, right? So, and this is how we're going to go through that. So today, of course, being the year is 2023, it being the 8th month and the 27th day, right? So we're going to add 2 plus 2 plus 3, right, which is 4 plus 3, right, which we get a 7 for the year 2023. Then it's the 8th month, so we add 8 to that, and then 27, right, which we can also say as a 9. So we're adding 7, 8, 9, right? So 7 and 8 is 15, and plus 9 is 24. But let me add 7 plus 8 is 15, and add 15 to 27 to see what other number we get there, which is going to be 42, right? And 4 and 2 is a 6. And keep in mind, you'll get the same thing if you were to add 7, 8, and 9, because 7 and 8, of course, is 15, plus 9 is 24, and you get the same thing. So it's just it's the same two numbers, actually. It's 42 or 24, depending on how you add that up. We could have also added it up in the biggest number, in the thousands, right? So, for example, we could have added 2023 plus 8, right, which would give us 2031, right, plus 27, which would have given us 2058, right? And 2 plus 5 is 7, right? Plus 8 is 15, which again, 1 and 5 is a 6. So no matter how you add up the numbers, it's the commutative law of addition. In numerology, we use the commutative law of addition, some simple arithmetic, as well as simplifying all the numbers into a single digit. So no matter how you add up this year, or today, specifically today, you get 6, right? So let's talk about what 6 means on an overall level, right? So let's talk about what 6 is. So we're going to go into what looks like a 6th day. So this is a planetary vibration for the 6, right? So, but we're actually going to look at, we're going to look at two different things, right? We're going to look at one that says if you were born on the, right? So there's something that says if you were born on the 6th, and then we're going to also look at what's called as number 6 individual day, right? So somebody was born today, right? On this date somewhere in time, right? On a 6th day. So somebody, so you could be any 6th that you were born on, but today is not the 6th of August, of course. It is the 27th, but like I said, all the total numbers 202308 and 27 together equals 6. No matter how you add it up, it's either 24, 42, or 15, and you still get a 6 no matter what. So let's take a look. Actually, let's go with the number 6 individual day for the planet's vibration, the overall planetary vibration. So the overall planetary vibration for today, we're going to have this example. This is this is the weakest influence for everybody because it covers this is what would be the underlying wave function or the underlying wave of information. That is the carrier wave for everybody else's vibrations that are on it. So, for example, if this was, you could say, if this was 15 hertz, 24 hertz, or 42 hertz, whatever other numeral you came up with or number would be carried on this lower, slower, bigger vibration, right? As the same thing in frequency modulation with sound, for example. And I'm going off of some of the information being mined from Babylon Spanksters and everything like that, and looking at the perspective from those differences. So let's take a look here. So number 6 individual day for the planet, right? Overall, the weakest one, that is the carrier wave, though. So every other numeral or number that you get or combination thereof will be based off of this underlying carrier wave. And this should be a day of peace and contentment. And you will enjoy it immensely if you just give in to the quiet impulses you will feel. Your home will be so much more important to you today, as will your family. 6 is the number of mankind, and all your feelings will be thoughtful and generous as you strive to share them with those you love. They will welcome your eagerness to help shoulder their load and appreciate your kind offers to help. Forget about bills and expenses, for on a 6th day you will not want. Riches won't abound, but surely all you need will be forthcoming, as 6 falls under the protective force of adequate supply. Accept your responsibilities cheerfully, and you will find yourself enjoying doing whatever it is you must. No burden seems too heavy when it is lifted with a spirit of joyfulness and determination. Entertain in your home, if possible, for your home will reverberate with your own particular charm and warmth. Since harmony and beauty will be outstanding in your heart on this lovely day, you are apt to make a more concerted effort to establish these qualities in your home, office, or other surroundings. Therefore, it's a good day for entertaining. If this cannot be done, get out with others or go to the homes of friends or your extended family. Bring with you some little gift that speaks of your appreciation of their relationship in your life. You will win hearts and new friends. Whatever bad spell you may have had will be put aside now, and it is good for those you care for to see you in such a happy state of mind. Grudges should be forgotten, and an olive branch extended to anyone you have quarreled with, since you may also have been at fault. Your offer will be considered a gracious gesture, and an even stronger relationship can develop because of the respect you gain accordingly. Give some serious thought to registering for some course of study. Education is a strong vibratory power on a 6th day, and this is certainly the day to start the ball rolling. If you can't enroll in a regular course, take heed of everything around you, as life itself is an education, and the experiences we acquire are a lesson in themselves if used to our advantage. Gardening is a study as well as a hobby and can be most enlightening for those who are so inclined. Affection and love are strong within you, so if you were thinking of proposing or accepting a proposal, do it today. Present yourself in the best light possible and watch the stars shine in the eyes of your intended. Good luck. So remember, I'm just considering this now for one of the base carrier waves because it's the date on the planet today. It's the overall date of the planet, at least in this time zone, right? And within from midnight, whoever hit midnight first and got into this date. Some places are out of it by now, right? Since it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, so other people that are on the 28th. But we're considering this number as the overall vibration with this. And remember, one of the reasons why this is important is because this is the date that a lot of people agree that it's on, and this is one of the underlying structures of what causes any of this information to be to have any relevance at all, is because, remember, dates are arbitrary and they're human-made, they're mankind, and they're based off of the cycles inside the solar system, right? We're basically inside a giant clock. So, of course, everything is moving and swirling. They're basically cycles of cycles inside. And because of our perspective on Earth, we've agreed to what all of the things, the different numbers mean. So it's what you could call in Jungian archetypes some of the universal unconscious or universal subconscious mind. And so it's all in agreement or in accordance, sort of like if you think about somebody who would be a lucid dreamer like myself, who is aware of and can control their dreams. Imagine if everybody were like that. And if I were in my dream by myself, I could control 100% of my dream. But if I shared it with another super lucid dreamer who also could control 100% of theirs, now we only have 50% of control over it. You add 2 more people, we'll only have 25% of control. You add 8 people inside there, and we have 12.5% of control, right? And on and on. So if you imagine then the billions of people on Earth having to share that different controlling power over the dream, which would be the giant lucid dream that we live in on Earth, is the reason why it gives it any sense of stability in the form of physics and everything like that, because we all have agreed upon exactly what it is, and we have to share the power of our own determination over it, and so it becomes stable and it looks frozen and fixed, whereas if you're on a dream yourself, by yourself, you can have more control over it. So we're all basically, this is in essence what it means to be a co-creator, right? Because we're co-creating based on the agreements that we have. If you ever heard of anything like the person who broke the first 4-minute mile, for example, right? Or the 100th monkey syndrome, whereas if when one person broke that 4-minute mile, all of a sudden everybody else started doing it exponentially. It just blew up. Everybody could do it. And it happens with a lot of things. Or with certain monkeys, where you teach one of them, they can be a remote location from another group of those same monkeys in a distant location, and all of a sudden they'll start picking up those different traits, like, for example, the usage of certain tools or things like that. And so we have this underlying construct that happens somehow within our universal subconscious or unconscious, which also, if you let me extend it this way, we could say that is one of the underlying ways in communication of quantum entanglement, in which you can change the state of something, for example, an electron. If 2 of them are coupled in one system and you have one spinning up and one spinning down, and you separate them by any distance, it doesn't matter how far, if you take the one that's spinning up and make it spin down, the one that's spinning down will immediately begin spinning up with no time interval in between. Not at the speed of light or anything even faster than that. It's instantaneous. And this is behind quantum entanglement. And so that's at least some tiny bit of information being communicated there. So we have instantaneous communication in a lot of ways, at least played out in that one little tiny, very oversimplified explanation of quantum entanglement. So let's move on here and let's see. So we had that overall carrier wave vibration of the numeral 6 day, and let's go ahead and see what maybe now this has to say when we look at, let's first go to the Viking runes, and what kind of information can we Reza just put, time does not exist. Yeah, well, I mean, it exists in a construct. It's an agreement. So anything you can say doesn't exist, it doesn't make any sense. Existence is, whether it exists in our minds or imaginations or not, it does exist. You can even think of the fact that our brains cannot distinguish between something that we imagine or something that we actually experience. Even if it's just an experience we have on a television show, we still have a memory of it, and it exists somewhere. And even in saying that fact about existence, we have to consider what existence is, right? Does it mean just because it's some kind of physical construct or not? Because lots of things that are considered to be non-physical even have a basis that then eventually becomes physical in everything that humans invent, for example, that were not extant at one time, like a chair, for example, and someone thought of it and then created it by bringing it into reality through the material means. So what exactly is meant by not existing? If we consider a thought that I often express to everybody, that all knowledge and all power is in all places at all times, which comes from the ideas of an eternal creation, which is, the universe always was, always is, and always will be, or omnipotence, omnipresence, and omniscience, right? Where there's no such thing as something not being possible, that it's within us and all around us. So that's why we take responsibility fully for all of our thoughts, actions, our thoughts, words, and actions in past, present, and future, because there is no possible thing that's separate from existence. Your thoughts exist. Even like Descartes, who was wrong about a lot of things, says, I think, therefore I am. Well, we exist. So let's go on to the Viking runes, first of all, and see what we're going to look at here. I'm actually going to leave it to you to also express your ideas or thoughts or any knowledge you want to open up with at all. But I'm going to base this and see what we can get based on the numeral 6, and today being the overall underlying carrier vibration of 6. And so I'm just going to think about that and see how that is a planetary guidance, if you will. By the way, I'm just doing this on the fly. I've never done this OkultinometriX style before, although I have combined all of them, but I'm going to just take a look at one of the attributes of the numeral 6 and then just draw the runes from there. So we have, let's take a look at 6, right? 6 has, I'm only going to look at the positive, as in the hot numbers technique from, I forget what that lady's name is. I don't even know if I have that book. I don't have that book with me right now, but okay, but let's just look at 6. So peacemaker, unselfish, charming, sympathetic, home-loving, spiritual, intelligent, just, artistic, persuasive, creative, truthful, serene, considerate, angelic, loyal, humanitarian, loving, thoughtful, caring, reliable, honorable. And I'm just going to pull the runes without even really much other thought other than that. So I'm going to do the 5 rune spread with just the thought of whatever I read in the number 6 in mind, and see what we have. Okay, so in the first position, we're going to have, this is going to represent the overview of the situation. In the second position, we're going to have the challenge. Remember, I'm just thinking about the numeral 6 right now in numerology, since that's what I first drew. So we have the challenge. In the third position, we're going to have course of action called for. Remember, I'm just arbitrarily going number 6 to make this go by fast. So we have course of action called for. In the fourth position, we're going to have sacrifice, or what some people even call surrender to God. And then in the fifth position, we're going to have the new situation evolving. So what's going to happen? So we have a new situation evolving in the fifth position. All right, so new situation evolving. So all of those are drawn, and because the way I'm doing it this way, based on the underlying carrier frequency of 6, this is going to be something that I'm giving to everyone, let's say, as a little bit of inspiration. So let's get on with this runamo here, for example. Okay, so we're going to look at the overview of the situation, which is first represented by Jera. Jera's English translation is harvest. So this is the overview of the situation, remember, based on that carrier frequency of 6. So let's see what we got here. Jera means harvest, fertile season, or 1 year. And there's no reversal for it. And it says, a rune of beneficial outcomes. Jera applies to any activity or endeavor to which you are committed. Be aware, however, that no quick results can be expected. A span of time is usually involved, hence the key words 1 year, symbolizing a full cycle before the reaping, the harvest, or deliverance. You have prepared the ground and are planted and planted the seed. So you have prepared the ground and planted the seed. Now you must cultivate with care. To those whose labor has a long season, a long coming to term, Jera offers encouragement of success. Know that the outcome is in the keeping of providence and continue to persevere. Remember the old story about the farmer who was so eager to assist his crops that he went out at night and tugged on the new shoots? There is no way to push the river. Equally, you cannot hasten the harvest. Be mindful that patience is essential for the recognition of your own process, which, in its season, leads to the harvest of the self. That's it for Jera. That's the overview of the situation, and it's harvest, fertile season, and 1 year. All right, moving on to the next part, which is the challenge. The challenge is represented by Lagus, which is flow. It's in its upright position. So the challenge is flow, upright position. What does that mean? Remember, this is all based off of the underlying carrier frequency of 6 that I had read earlier from Numerology for Beginners with Jerry Bauer. And now we're going to go into Lagus, which is flow, 127. Let's look at flow, which is the challenge. So it might be challenge to get into this flow. Now remember, we first started with harvest, right? And which was the first one, which was Jera. And now we have flow, water, and that which conducts. So let's see, this might be a challenge for that growth. Unseen powers are active here, powers that nourish, shape, and connect. The attributes of this rune are water, fluidity, the ebb and flow of emotions, careers, and relationships. Lagus encourages you to immerse yourself in the experience of living without having to evaluate or understand. It speaks to the satisfaction of emotional needs, to the awakening of the intuitive or lunar side of your nature. By the way, just a reminder, we have another full moon, a blue moon, coming up at the end of this month on the 30th, I believe it is, right? So look out for that. I'm going to be I'm charging up my cameras and getting some images of that. You guys can look at some of my lunar photography on hypnoathletics.net. Or no, it's hypnoathletics.info. But I'll post that as well. So let's say, so you got that new full moon coming up. All right, so it speaks to the satisfaction of emotional needs, to the awakening of the intuitive or lunar side of your nature. For while the sun strives for differentiation, the moon draws us towards union and merging. That reminds me of calculus, differential and integral calculus. So it says the sun strives for differentiation. So I wonder if I put that into context. The sun is differential calculus and the moon is integral. Interesting. I'm gonna write that down and explore that later. All right. This rune often signals a time for cleansing, for revaluing, reorganizing, realigning. A rune of deep knowing, it may call you to study spiritual matters in readiness for self-transformation. Success now lies in contacting your intuitive wisdom and attuning to your own rhythms. A rune of the self, relating rightly to the self. Lagus signifies what alchemists call the conjunctio or sacred marriage. In fairy tales, it is the end where the hero and heroine live happily ever after. All right, that's it for the challenge. Also, I don't know if any of you noticed, but there's some similarities also to the numeral 6 from this rune reading so far. But I'm going to go quickly because I'm going to have to get out of this bookstore in about 20 minutes. So the course of action called for, this one looks like it's reversed, I think, and it is Thurasaz, which is also Thor, and in English it's gateway. So, but it's a gateway reversed. So let's take a look at what a reverse gateway talks about. So first of all, it's gateway, place of non-action, and the god Thor. This is in the course of action called for, but let's take a look. Reversed. A quickening of your development is indicated here. Yet even in times of accelerated growth, you will have reason to halt along the way, to reconsider the old, to integrate the new. Take advantage of these halts. If you are undergoing difficulties, remember, the nature of your passage depends upon the quality of your attitude, the clarity of your intention, and the steadfastness of your will. Be certain that you are not suffering over your suffering. Drawing Thorasaz reversed demands contemplation on your part. Hasty decisions at this time may cause regrets, for the probability is that you will act from weakness, deceive yourself about your motives, and create new problems more severe than those you are attempting to resolve. Impulses must be tempered by thought for correct procedure. Do not attempt to go beyond where you haven't yet begun. Be still, collect yourself, and wait on the will of heaven. All right. Course of action called for. That was Thor, the god Thor speaking. I think we have another reversed one here. And yes, we do. It's Wunjo. Wunjo, which also means joy. And this is in the position of sacrifice, or some might say surrender to God. And let's see what Wunjo has to say here in the position of sacrifice. That's the fourth position. Remember, all this based on the carrier signal frequency of 6. If you didn't hear that before, you'll have to go back again or look at your own copy of Numerology for Beginners. This is in the position of sacrifice or surrender to God in the fourth position. And reversed, it says, things are slow in coming to fruition. Oh, by the way, the attributes of Wunjo is joy and light. So reversed, things are slow in coming to fruition. The process of birth is long and arduous, and fears arise for the safety of the child within. A crisis, a difficult passage, even if brief, is at hand. Consideration and deliberation are called for. Ask yourself whether you possess the virtues of seriousness, sincerity, and emptiness. To possess them is to have tranquility, which is the ground for patience, clarity, and perseverance. I think that's considered a good reading. So, ask yourself whether you possess the virtues of seriousness, sincerity, and emptiness. To possess them is to have tranquility, which is the ground for patience, clarity, and perseverance. Seen in its true light, everything is a test, and focused in the present, sincere toward others and trusting in yourself, know that you cannot fail. In times of crisis, Wunjo reversed is a useful meditation. And finally, the third one is also reversed. So we have 2 that were upright and 3 in a row that were reversed. And the last one in the position of new situation evolving is Nautiz. And Nautiz in the English is constraint. So let's look at what the new situation evolving. Remember, based on that overall carrier signal of the 6th vibration from numerology, we have this final thing that is the overview of the situation: constraint, necessity, and pain, which actually goes along with what we just read before, right, with the reversing of Wunjo, or joy, right? So let's take a look now. And the attributes of Nautiz reversed, again, which is in English, it's constraint, necessity, and pain. The reversal is in the position of new situation evolving. Reversed, as part of the cycle of initiation, Nautiz is the great teacher disguised as the bringer of pain and limitation. It has been said that only at the moment of greatest darkness do we become aware of the light within and come to recognize the true creative power of the self. When something within you is disowned, that which is disowned wreaks havoc. A cleansing is required here. In undertaking it, you fund a will and strengthen character. Begin with what is most difficult and proceed to that which is easy. You know, that reminds me of something from the book Think and Grow Rich, which Napoleon Hill writes, I will do what needs to be done when it needs to be done and as it needs to be done. I will complete the most difficult tasks first to destroy the habits of procrastination and build habits of action in its place. Anyway, continuing. It says, all right, so begin with the most difficult and proceed to that which is easy. Or conversely, begin with what is easy and proceed to that which is most difficult. Opposite. Either way, remember that suffering in its original sense merely meant undergoing. Thus, you are required to undergo the dark side of your passage and bring it into the light, controlling your anger, restraining your impulses, keeping your faith firm. All this is at issue here. Modesty and good temper are essential at such a challenging time. That's interesting. So a lot of this has talked about challenge, sacrifice, pain, and all those things like that, with the final 3 being reversed even in the new situation. So it started actually with the course of action called for being reversed, going into the sacrifice, and then the final position of new situation evolving, whereas the first 2 were upright. And let's go take a look. What were those in a row here? So in English, in the first position, which is the overview of the situation, we had harvest. In the second position, we had flow. So harvest, flow. In the third position, which is the course of action called for, so we had harvest, flow, and then harvest, flow, and then gateway. Harvest, flow, gateway, joy. Harvest, flow, gateway, joy, constraint. Harvest, flow, gateway, joy, restraint. Interesting. Harvest, flow, gateway, joy, restraint. I'm going to write that down real quick on the same page that I did the number calculations first before I move on. Harvest, flow, gateway, joy, restraint. Where is that? There we go. So, harvest, flow, gateway, joy, restraint. Okay, so I'm going to get those runes away. Oh, first I'll get a photo of them, as I usually do for my for uses probably perhaps later in the either. So there we go. All right, and now back to here we go on call-in. All right, so harvest, flow, gateway, joy, restraint. Let me put those up. All right, what should I move on to next here? I don't have much time. So I'm going to draw from, let's see, I'm going to draw from the Alchemy elementals here. And I don't know how many I should draw here. I'm going to draw 6 because it's a 6 day. So might as well go with that, right? And see how quickly I can get through those, if I'll be able to get through any of the other tarot cards in this deck at all. So we're going to see here. I already shuffled them at least once before. I'm just doing a nice little spread here, so let's see. Let's see what happens in relation to that numeral 6. All right, so far we've done numerology, we've done Viking runes, and now we're looking at alchemy elementals, and I'm drawing 6 cards. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, I'm going to do it like this. Have a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, good. So I'm going to roll through these. I got to go somewhat quickly in order to be able to cover this. So at least I'll be able to get through it in some way. All right. So let's look at the first thing here and see what we've got. Ooh, we've got land, animal, sun. Let's take a look at what land, animal, sun. Land, animal, sun. We can call this whatever we want here, as far as like, because I didn't do this in the same spread as the Viking rune with those same positions. So the first one is land, animal, sun. All right, land, animal, sun. What's the message for us? Land, animal, sun. All right. It's one thing to love animals and to scratch them behind their ears and to tell a chihuahua in someone's purse that you like its sweater vest. It's quite another thing to truly commune with animals. When was the last time you ran alongside a horse, feeling the joy and freedom it feels sprinting across the land? When was the last time you rolled around with a dog, not just looming over it while patting it on its head, but humbled yourself by bringing yourself to its level and playing with it the way that dogs actually like to play? When was the last time you sang along with the birds and harmonized with their melodies? The wisdom of the animals are profound, and their messages run deep. Avail yourself of the medicine they carry through communion. Allow animals to teach you through their ways and through their language. They are our guides here. Walk well with them. Okay. Next. The second card we have Fire Candle Star. Man, these cards are beautiful. Fire Candle Star from Alchemy Elemental. So we have Fire Candle Star. Let's take a look. Fire Candle Star. Fire Candle Star. All right. Fire Candle Star is our second card here. And it is creativity exists in the realm of the unknown. And the unknown is a realm of darkness as well as of great mystery. Do not be afraid of the dark, my child. The darkness has secrets to share and paths to illuminate and treasures to gift you. When night falls around the world, when night falls and the world stills and your mind quiets, it is time for you to awaken and embark upon a journey of discovery. The darkness is beckoning you. There, you will tap into new knowledge and undiscovered creativity. There, in the still of the night, you will find magic waiting for you. Be brave, love. Be bold. Trust that the spirits are holding you, because they are. Oh my God. All right. Ooh, there's one here. It's simply labeled mental. Mental. All right, what is it here? Mental. Let's take a look. Mental. Mental. That's one of the, I forget what those cards are called, but they're like something akin to like a master set. Mental. So in the third here we have mental. All right. And here we go. Oh, the pillar. Those are the pillar cards. So we have mental, the mental pillar. Here we go. When the mental pillar appears in a spread, the spirits are pointing your attention toward your mind and how it's working or not working for you. This pillar is about the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the ideas you imagine. It's about communication and manifestation and self-talk. So check in with yourself. What are you feeding your mind? Are you thinking for yourself, or are you thinking against yourself? Are you working yourself up, or are you tearing yourself down? The mental pillar is about reading. It actually says wording yourself up. I wonder if he's like actually meant to put that, or if it's a typo or something like that. So are you wording yourself up? You know there's a song called Word Up, right? Anyway, are you wording yourself up, or are you tearing yourself down? Because maybe you can word yourself up, right, by saying certain words to yourself. I don't know. Or are you tearing yourself down? The mental pillar is about reading, writing, and manifesting. It's also about innovating, learning new skills, and imagining a better world. This pillar is as much about what you are taking into your mind as it is about what your mind is putting out into the world. Are you thinking beautiful thoughts and telling yourself wonderful things and speaking kindness and encouragement to your tribe and into the world? What are the cards telling you about the quality of your mind? What shifts are the spirits wanting you to make so that you can upgrade your mental faculties? All right, next here. Let's see. I just got a little message here in wisdom. What is the message? Mercury retrograde coded right now until 9:13. Hello, Graciela Moore. How you doing? Graciela. It's been a long time. Mercury retrograde coded right now until... I have no idea what that means. I'm not an astrologer. I have zero clue of what this means at all. But if anybody does, then that should be helpful to you. What you just read. Oh, communication. Okay. Astrology for some reason baffles my mind. The only thing I know about it is just in planetary alignments and positions, but nothing more than that. Okay, so let's take a look at the 4th card in this here, which is, oh my God, this dragging around of the chairs when they're cleaning up is so, it like hurts my soul. When in Barnes and Nobles, when like the chairs get dragged across the floor. They do it in Starbucks too when they're cleaning up. and it hurts. Like the way it's like like a giant chalkboard being scratched with like some old, like really thick, like green and yellow fungusy demon nails, right? Sky Storm Star. We're at Sky Storm Star right now is the next card. Here's the next message. Sky Storm Star. These cards are so beautiful. Sky Storm Star. All right. What was that? Sky Storm Star. Oh, yeah. There we go. I'm right at it. Okay, so here we go. So the next is Sky Storm Star is our next message, and that is, whenever you choose to direct your attention to something, you are casting your vote for more of that thing to exist in our world. If you are focusing on chaos, on suffering, on pollution, and on zombie apocalypse movies, then, by the very act of directing your consciousness to those things, you are creating more of them in our world. So don't worry, folks. He's not necessarily saying, although not excluding it, that you're going to create a zombie apocalypse by focusing on them. You may simply just be helping to create more zombie apocalypse movies. All right, so because I know some people get all freaked out. All right, so if you are focusing on chaos, on suffering, on pollution, on zombie apocalypse movies, then by the very act of directing your consciousness, imagine that. Listen to this word, directing your consciousness, like you're the director, right? So directing your consciousness on those things, you're creating more of them in our world. Not only that, but when you are distracted with chaos, suffering, pollution, and apocalypse scenarios, you cannot focus on what it is that you, yes, you truly desire and seek to manifest for yourself. Safeguard your attention, my love. Seek beyond the manipulation of the matrix and rest in the threshold of possibility that lies in the unseen. In doing so, you will discover a new vision that will lead you to a fresh pathway, one that takes you to your dreams and your aspirations, where all of your desires will be met. Moving along, very quickly, we have Sky, Rainbow, and Sun. The next message comes to us from Sky, Rainbow, and Sun. Sky, Rainbow, and Sun. Not too far away from that one. And we have this message, Sun. You are a complex, dynamic being. Embrace the many facets that combine to make you, you. Do not settle on a single aspect of yourself and then go forming some one-dimensional identity around it. Do not settle on a single aspect of yourself and then go forming some one-dimensional identity around it. You're way too lit for that. The spirits are asking you to embrace and to be all of you. Who cares if people don't get it? Life is asking you to celebrate your many sides and to give voice to them. When you are fulfilled and expressed as all of who you are, with total appreciation and acceptance, then that energy radiates off you and illuminates the most magical possibilities, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Your authenticity will lead to riches when you allow the entirety that is you to be seen and heard and fully expressed in this world. Step out of the shadows and let your light shine, my love, every last drop of it. And then we have one more. This is the sixth card in the sixth position, and this might be the one that matters the most. Maybe not really. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. I'm just basing this off the fact that it's the sixth card and the sixth card layout here, and I'm basing this all on the vibration of the numeral 6 that this day, the 27th of August, has for it by combining the numbers of 8, 27 and 2023, right? 2023. And it's fire, tribal fire, star. Fire, tribal fire, star. And let's take a look at what that has to say for us. Star. Stories are the building blocks of society. Our mythologies create our culture. Our mythologies shape our tribes. And our mythologies structure our families. If we find ourselves dissatisfied with our world as it is, then we have to get real about the materials we are using to create it. Remember that you are co-creating this reality structure with your every thought and your every word. Be mindful of the stories you are telling, dear one, and be sure that the narratives you are sharing are tales of triumph and tales of love, peace, and of harmony, such that you are consciously building the reality you want to be living in. All right. I think that was a nice and very important one. I wouldn't say necessarily for everybody that it is the most important one, but it is definitely something that is important indeed. I'm going to snap a photo of these cards as I have them lined up here, and I'm going to pack up and get going. And then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back with a second part here of Okultinometrics for today with my other tarot cards after that. So that's what's going to be coming up next. All right, thanks for joining. This was Okultinometrics, Alchemy, Elements, Numerology, Runes, and Tarot. I got at least all of those because in some way these alchemy elemental cards can be considered tarot. So this is the Hitman, Hitman, Hakim in the morning, afternoon, and night, because you never know when I'm going to be on here, morning, afternoon, or night. And I'm signing out for Okultinometrics, Alchemy, Elements, Numerology, Runes, and Tarot. I'll be back soon with actually a triple tarot reading, and maybe we can delve into some angelology and demonology.